Okay, so the first part of our process is we have to grade up our ginger. You're going to want about 2 to 6 inches of ginger for the quantities of water that we're using, which is a gallon of unchlorinated water. If you use 2 inches, it's going to be a more mild ginger ale. If you use 6 inches, it's going to be a lot spicier. So depending on your own personal preferences, how spicy you like the ginger ale, that's going to determine how much ginger you use. I personally like a little spicier ginger ale, so I tend to put a little bit more, but you're going to get out your cheese grater and you're going to grade up your ginger here. You can leave the skins on, that's no problem, but you want to make sure that it's really nicely cut up. It's going to increase the surface area for when you put it in the pot. Okay, so the next step is getting the ginger, water, and sugar into a pot to boil for about 15 minutes. So you're going to start by getting 2 quarts of your water into the pot. So it's not the whole gallon yet. You put 2 quarts of water, about a cup and a quarter of sugar. Again, if you want a little bit sweeter, you can go a little bit more than that. A little less, you can go a little bit less, but you need sugar in there to ferment. So you still got to have sugar. Don't worry, most of it's going to get fermented up anyways, or a large portion of it will get fermented up. So get your ginger, your water, your sugar. You're going to place it in the pot, let it boil for 15 minutes. Boiling ginger. Okay, so while the ginger is boiling, you're going to cut up 2 lemons and get the juice from those 2 lemons and collect it in a container of some sort, which you're going to add to the mixture once your ginger wort, the boiled water, ginger, and sugar, is cooled and ready. Okay, so I've been boiling my what's called wort, which is the sugar and the ginger in the unchlorinated water now, for about 15 minutes. Turn it off, and it's time to let it cool. Now, if you want to go a slower method, leave it on the burners. I'd move it off the hot one, right, and just let it cool. But if you want to speed up the process, you could actually take the pot and put it in your sink with some cold water in the sink. That will help to speed up the process. As well, you could also put it in the fridge, but again, you want to make sure you don't stick it right in the fridge because it could melt the plastic if the pot's really hot. But either way, let it cool down, and then you can start the next part of the process. Okay, so I've got a container here that is able to have a gallon or more inside of it. I've already poured in the other 2 quarts of my water. So the 2 quarts from here, and then the 2 quarts from the water that we used for the wort, the ginger sugar boil, that will make a gallon here. So I've already put that 1 water in. I've got my lemon juice from my 2 lemons. I actually used 3 lemons for this because they were kind of small. So, and I don't mind a more lemony type taste anyways, but you would say 2 large lemons is probably all you need. And I also have my bug here, which I'll use a cup of this filter as well. So I've got my 2 quarts in there already. I need to make sure that I have a funnel and a strainer so I'm not getting all the ginger bits into the actual drink. You want to make sure that everything from the boil mixture, the wort, is out and you're just getting the liquid. Okay, so I've got my pot with my wort and a strainer and a funnel to get all of the fluid from the wort in there. Oops, little spill. Can already tell that's going to be pretty strong, but I like that, so that's okay. I used a lot of ginger for this one. My daughter Sequoia might not like it as much, because it's going to be pretty spicy. But like I said, I like them pretty spicy. So I'm going to pour in now the lemon juice. got my ginger bug. Now this ginger bug also has turmeric in it, but that's okay. So I'm going to actually pour out a cup of this. And I talked about my last video too on how to make the bug, some of the benefits of doing the turmeric in there as well. I'm just going to put that right back into the bug. And if you remember, to make sure this is going, I'm going to replace the water in here. I'm going to put 1 more tablespoon of sugar, 1 more tablespoon of either the turmeric or ginger or a combination of both, so that it fills it back up from what I took out of it. And now that I got about a cup of the ginger bug, I want to make sure it's fully strained. Pour that in. I'm going to seal this off, put the lid on, and that's basically it for the next 5 to 7 days. This is called our primary fermentation. So if you got a strong lid, you're still going to probably want to it, although it probably won't need that for the first few days anyways. But I usually put a little wax thing on top. I've heard people just putting a piece of cloth on top and putting a rubber band around it. All of that sort of stuff will work as well. But you're going to have this in here for about 5 to 7 days. It's all based on the amount of heat that's in the space that you're in. So you want to keep it out of direct sunlight and in a warm, dry place. But if it's still hot where you're at, or whenever you're making this because you're watching the video, the warmer it will be, the quicker it will ferment. The longer that you let it ferment, the more it's going to actually eat up all of the sugars as part of that fermentation process. So if you want a sweeter drink, you're going to ferment it for less time. If you want more of a drink with a kick to it, then you're going to make sure that you let it ferment a little longer. And then what you're going to do after you let it ferment for a few days in here is you're going to bottle it after that. So that's going to be part 2 of how to make your own ginger ale. And as well, since there's not going to be as much to that video, I will have a special recipe for some fermented lavender lemonade on that video as well. But for now, I'm going to close this off. You got about 5 to 7 days for the fermentation here before you bottle it. Thanks for watching. Okay, so my daughter Sequoia wanted to help me with making ginger ale because she likes the ginger ale. So she wanted to come in for this last little bit to show what I do. I actually get some wax paper just to put over the top. A top. And then we'll put that on top just like that, and then close the lid so it's not airtight. Oh, that's the wrong top. We're gonna have to find another top.
This is not the top, so we have to find another one.
Uh-oh. Daddy might have to look and see for a while. I thought that was the right top. Okay, we're gonna find the other top. We'll be right back. Okay, so change of plans. Can't seem to find the lid for this right now. Probably should have done that before I grabbed it for the video, but we've decided to improvise because my helper Sequoia was helping me look for it. But because I can't find it for now, we're just going to go with the method of covering it with the wax. Will you grab that for me, please? Thank you. Okay. So we don't have any rubber bands either, but what we do have, hair tie. So will you hold that side for me? Alright, I'm just going to put the hair tie around it.
And
voila.
voila.
Voila. So we're going to let this ferment 5 to 7 days. I'll keep looking for the lid. Eventually I'll find it. But again, I don't get most of my fermentation until I bottle it with the flip top bottles. So that's when it really gets bubbly for me anyways. So it's okay that it's like this for now. See you in the next video.
See you in the next video.
Bye bye.